Guys, hey. All right. Uh, we are live. All right. Hey. Welcome. Always a struggle with Jen and the lives. All right. So we are live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I am warning you on Instagram. My mom is currently in the hospital. I'm waiting on her doctor to call. So if her doctor calls on Instagram, you better jump over to Facebook because it's surely probably going to shut the audio off. I don't know. Um, Y'all need to sit down and figure out my streaming systems, okay? Because I'll be over here struggling. Ah, all right. Okay. Let's get into this. Yes, she's supposed to be coming home either tomorrow or Friday. So just waiting on that update. So if that call comes through, I'm abandoning this whole live. I'm just letting y'all know. Cause family is first all the time. All right. So let's get busy. Hey. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Jennifer J. I am the Premier VA. I consult with business owners to ensure they are setting up the proper systems and automations in their businesses. So let's talk about automations. So, what are automations? Right? So, when a lot of business owners don't really understand what's needed to set up automations in their business. They just think that once they get the system, and I see this all the time, this is why I can talk like this. Once they get the system, then they've automated their business, right? But what you don't realize is that there are some things that you need to figure out first before you get the system. Because I can guarantee you, I have set up so many systems. The setup does not take as long as you trying to figure out what you're supposed to do, right? So I always talk about the GPS. When you put a address in the GPS, it automatically knows where to guide you, right? Because somewhere they have it set up, and I don't know how GPSs work, but they have it set up to a database that feeds the directions to that place, right? So it's no different than us saying, this is my system, this is where I'm going, and this is how we're going to get there, right? Remember, I try to keep everything simple. So before you even jump, and I'm going to say yo butt, into purchasing a system, there's some things you need to figure out first because then that dictates what system you get, right? So it's like, for instance, people will get a system and then try to figure it out and be like, oh, the system don't do that. So let's figure it out first because you should have it figured out first before you start spending money anyway. So we're going to talk about the PSA model. The PSA model is process, strategy, and automations. All right. You start with the process, you develop a strategy for the process, and then you implement the strategy with automation. I'm going to repeat that. The PSA model of automation, and this is J&J, the Premier VA PSA model. process, strategy, automation. You start with the process, you develop a strategy, and then you implement the automation. Okay. Now, how do we do that? Let's get into it. So, how do I properly automate my business? So, you're going to do what's called an automation strategy. It's separate than your business strategy. Okay. I'm not a business coach. I'm not going to teach you how to make money in your business. I'm not going to teach you how to make money quick. I'm not going to teach you business strategies. I'm going to teach you an automation strategy, which is how to set up the strategy to automate your business, meaning how to set up the strategy to bring customers and leads and clients into your business automatically, how to set your onboarding up so that it's automatic, right? That word automatic means to happen with little or no manual input. You cannot find these definitions anywhere because these are G&J, the Premier VA definitions. Okay. I redefine everything to make it more simple for my audience. So, automation happens with little or no manual input, meaning, I'm sorry, Instagram, y'all shaking. Okay. Okay. And so, when we automate, we are trying to make things better for ourselves and for our customers because we want their customer journey to be one of little hesitation. We want them to do the less possible. So always think about how many clicks is it going to take for them to get to this point. If it's too many clicks, just know they're not going to do it. So think about yourself when you're engaging and think about who your client avatar is. Is your client avatar going to click all of those buttons and take all of those steps to get to where they need to go? Okay. Now, when we talk about automation strategy, the first step in that is what is the end goal? We always begin with the end in mind when we're doing automation. So it's always what is the end goal? So the end goal is what do you want them to do? Do you want them to sign up for your list? Do you want them to book a call? Do you want them to purchase a process? A product? Do you want them to get into your membership, your Facebook group, your community? Do you want them to text because you want them to get into your community? What is the end goal? So if I'm setting up a membership, my end goal is to get people in my membership. Now, the second step in this is the roadmap. The roadmap is just like the GPS. How am I going to get them there? Right? So, what steps do they need to take? Okay, so let's think about this. I want to put them on a wait list. And then when I'm ready. So the wait list is so I could collect leads while I get my membership and my page together, or while I get my webinar and my masterclass or my workshop or my launch together. Hopefully don't do that with a launch. But because unless you're close to finishing. But I want to create a wait list to get all these leads in one place because I know that these people are interested in this service or product. They're interested in this one thing. So I'm gonna create a wait list and then I'm gonna lead them from the wait list to my sales page. Then when they sign up, where do I want them to go? So you're always building a roadmap. And this PSA model, you repeat with every process. So the automation strategy is goal, roadmap, and implementation, right? So we identify the goal, we create a roadmap, and then we implement the steps in the roadmap. When we implement the steps, all that's saying is we're setting the system up now. Okay. So let's go back to the roadmap because this is where we need to stay. So when I talk about the roadmap, I'm talking about thinking about what you want to happen. So if you say, listen, when people contact me on Instagram, I want them to be able to click a link, sign up for my list, and then when I give them the product or whatever I told them they could get for free, if it's not just signing up for my list, um I want to lead them to my next product or my next service. This is why you create that goal in the beginning, right? You create the goal, which is the what is the goal? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? Do you have a membership? Do you have a mentorship? Do you have a mastermind? What is the goal at the end? And then you come back and you create the roadmap, the steps that they need to take. So when they sign up, I'm gonna get them off of Instagram. All right. I'm gonna get them into my email list. I'm gonna nurture them into this next product. Then, well, how are you going to nurture them? You're going to nurture them through sending them email, text, and voice notes, right? Then, when they get into the next product, you're going to nurture them into the next product. Same way, just different information, right? So, you're going to nurture them email, text, voice note into the next product. But what if they don't buy? If they don't buy the next product, then you have to think about, okay, what if they don't buy this next product? Where should I send them? You have to figure that out. Are you going to create another nurture series? Or are you going to have somebody from your team call them? Or what are you going to do? So I give you a prime example. If you DM me the word systems right now, and you can do it after the live, you can do it. This is a prime example of how this will work. If you DM me the word systems, you're going to get a DM back that says, "Hey, I heard I forgot what I wrote, but I heard you're interested in systems, blah 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 blah." I created a form. You click the link in the form. The form asks you some questions. At the end of that, it asks you, which one of these options do you want? Done for you, do it yourself, or do it with you, right? So when you click one of those options, it's going to take you down a specific path, right? So if you click the done for you, it's going to go to the done for you product. If you click the done with you, it's going to go to the done with you product. If you click the done for you, it's going to go to the done for you product, right? And it's a workflow for every one of those. Now, if you don't click it, it's going to send you another DM tomorrow that says, "Hey, yesterday I sent you yesterday you said you were interested in systems. I sent you the information. I noticed you didn't click it." Whatever it says, I don't know. Y'all, I forgot what I typed. But the point here's the main point in that. If you never click that link, it's going to keep DMing you. I set that up, not the system. I set that up. And then at the end, it's a really smart comment that says, "Hey, I thought we were building something, but I guess not. But if you need systems in the future, here's the form." So here's the thing. I'm on live right now. So if you do that and then fire off, it's happening, right? And I'm able to see it. But one thing, my system is catching that and it's tagging you and it's telling me, hey, you sent a DM. This person sent a DM, right? And so my strategy, right? We always go back to strategy. My strategy for that is I can go back and say, system, just like hopefully one day we could just talk to it like this, right? System, send this offer to everyone who DM'd me the word systems, but never clicked the link for the form, right? And now I can send an offer and retain those people back. And now that's customer retention, right? Y'all with me? You picking this up? If you have questions, definitely ask them. So let's go back. We have the PSA model to automate your business, right? Start with the process, develop a strategy, implement the strategy. Then we have the automation strategy, identify the goal, create a roadmap, implement the steps in the system. So I'm going to go back. My strategy, my goal, I had three goals, right? Three goals done for you, done with you, and do it yourself. Those are the three goals. Those are my three services that I offer. So now for these three goals, I need to map out paths to these three goals, right? Now, what are the paths to the three goals? Okay, the paths to the three goals is most people DM me. So I needed to figure out how can I service them in my DMs without me having to answer it. Because if I'm on live or I'm in meetings all day, I can't answer that. But there is a way, right? So I said, I want an automated process that says I can have them DM me a word, it picks it up. All right. So what's going to happen when they DM the word? All right, I'm going to send them to this form I created. So the form I created guides them through the three systems. First, it asks me to answer some questions because I need some information. Okay. Then it asks you which one of these three options do you want? Because are you an action taker or are you just playing games? Right. So you got three options. Not you about to ask a bunch of questions. You have three options. Here's your three options. Which one do you want? Now, once you pick that option, it's a whole nother workflow that flows off of that option. Oxygen. Maybe I need oxygen. Action. So that option that you choose, a whole nother workflow flies off of that, right? But this is what we need to do, and this is how we need to think for our business once we figure this out. Okay. And honestly, if you need help, you can book a strategy session with me and we can map out your strategy for you. I'll map out the strategy with you and we'll create this strategy if you can't do it yourself. But and you could click the link in my bio and book a strategy session call. Now, but this is how you do it. And this is how you do it for everything you create. This is what I do for my clients. Anytime my client says, David Shantz, we're going to do this. Okay. I know my job is to set that system up to support whatever he says he's going to do. And then I have to map that strategy out. So I have to ask questions like, okay, so when this happens, what do you want to happen? Okay, I want them to do this. Okay, well, what's the offer? So if he says, if he says, okay, I'm going to offer this clinic. Okay, are they getting anything else with it? Is it just the clinic? Okay. So then I have to map out the strategy of how to get the people from payment to the information for the clinic, right? Or I have to figure out how to get the people from sign up to getting the offer and getting the upsell offers that may be offered, right? So if you're getting into building funnels, you need to figure out the goal. What is the goal? What am I going to offer first? A lot of you jump to the system first. Oh, I need to find somebody to build the funnel. Hold the phone. What is going in the funnel? What do you need? What is the offer? Map the offer out first. And if you don't know how to map the offer out, don't come over here. Okay, wait a minute. Don't come over here because that's a business strategy. You need a business coach to help you map that out. I'm not a business coach, I'm a systems coach. I'm going to help you take that business strategy and then create the automation strategy to go with it, right? Um, so before you jump to say, hey, I need to find somebody to do funnels, figure out what you want first in the funnel. What is the offer? And then what do you have anything else that you want to offer? Stop trying to figure out how to do it before you figure out what it is. Like my dad always said, you're putting the cart before the horse, right? So for my visual people, if you have a cart in front of a horse, how the horse gonna pull the cart, right? So think about the horse in the front, which is the systems, and the cart is in the back, which is your strategy. What are you going to put in it, right? So to recap, and then I'm out of here. We automate our business by following the Gen J PSA model. Start with the process, create the strategy, and implement the automation, right? Now, the automation strategy for that is the steps: identify the goal, create the roadmap, and then implement the steps, which is set the system up. So you take your roadmap and then you use that roadmap to implement the system. Okay. So if you guys have questions, definitely let me know if you have questions. But this has been your lesson on how do I automate. And I had a board up there, but I moved it. You can see a little bit on this board, those squares, right? So I had to map out um how I wanted the flow to look like for email, right? So how do I want that flow to look like? I got a flow here, but if I pull this board over, it's going to show backwards. But at the top, I'm going to just show at the top is I have funnel page, what's included, button to apply. Up under that, I have an arrow to that box and it says application. Then I have a I don't know what that's called, but it's a wishbone. Let's call it a wishbone because it has two different paths, right? Did they fill the application out? Yes or no, right? No. It's are you ready to start? It's a are you ready to start question on there. Yes goes on one path, no goes on another path. So just sitting down and a piece of paper, right? Let me see if I can find one for you. Just a piece of paper and mapping this stuff out, drawing it out. I met with a client last week and I was so excited because he got it, right? He got it. He understood that I had to sit and figure out what the heck I was going to do. And it took me a while to figure it out. I said, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for you because you get it. Not saying that if you guys don't have that, you can't book a strategy session with me. You're going to have that by the time you end. But understanding that this is, and he's like, wow, people need to understand that they need to do this first. I'm like, yeah, they do. So if you can see, this is what I mapped out. This is how I map my stuff out. So whatever you have to do to map it out, you don't have to build boxes. Whatever your process is, if you write it out and draw arrows, if you type it out, if you use crayon, whatever you do, right? You can use circles, squares, stars, it don't matter. There is no defined process on how to map that thing out, but map it out your way, right? You map it out your way, the way that you would map it out. And you figure it out. Don't get so caught up in the process of how to do it. Just do it. Do it your way. Whatever you need. If you need line paper, if you need sketch pad paper, if you need graph paper, whatever, do it your way, but just get it done. Getting it done is the most important part. Don't worry about how it looks, whatever. Who's going to ever see that? It's yours. It's for you to be able to take it and put it into the system, right? It's for you to make these important decisions in your business on how to set your strategy up, right? So I give you another strategy that I'm personally about to map out because I'm about to start. I already have my system situation podcast, but I'm about to start my Pregnant at Prime podcast, which is going to be a podcast about my life. Um, a podcast about my life as a single mother, the struggles, the challenges I had to overcome. I'm also going to have my daughters on and we're going to be talking and about the different things and then I'll interview other people, right? So in that process, I had to map that out. Like, wait a minute, I need to interview people. Hold on. I need to set up a calendar for them to schedule. But before I can even do that, I need to figure out what days am I going to interview people on my podcast, right? So first I had to do all the setup. We ain't gonna talk about that. Then I have to figure out when I'm gonna interview people. When am I available? When would be the best time for me to interview uninterrupted? So I figure that out first. Then I have to set the calendar up, right? I put those times in the calendar and then I'm able to give them the link to schedule. But after that, what happens? I need to send them reminders, right? Because you don't want them to forget. So I have to set up the reminder flow. Then I had to figure out, okay, am I gonna send them the questions I'm gonna ask? Because I can't interview like Dave. Because mm, I just ain't there. I need guides. I gotta have questions. I gotta have notes. Not that I don't know what I'm talking about, but I need something to guide me, or I'll ramble. So I gotta have questions. So now I have to think about: do I want to send them these questions, right? And so podcasts that I've been on, they okay, so before you get in the session, it's like a 15-minute or a 10-minute buffer where they just talk to you, right? Like, okay, this is how the flow is going to go. I'm gonna invite you into this other room, and then we'll get started. I'm gonna introduce you, do my introduction by whatever. However, that's how they did. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that too because I like for people to be prepared. I don't want to catch somebody off guard. So mapping out the flow, right? The PSA model. What was the end goal? The end goal was I needed to set up a process for people to schedule with me to be a guest on my podcast, right? And then when I get big, I'm gonna be able to have an application like the Social Proof Podcast. If y'all not following the Social Proof Podcast, definitely follow the Social Proof Podcast. But when I get big, like Social Proof Podcast, then I'm gonna need an application because people gonna have to apply to be on my podcast, right? So then it's going to be an application process and a vetting process. But in that, I have to figure out what are the criteria that would eliminate somebody from being on my podcast. And then once I figure that out, those are the questions that I have to ask, right? So, yes, Angelina, yes, when we get big, we're going to need an application for our podcast. So, um, definitely. And then we just have people fill that application out. And because we're so big, we'll be able to have people to scrub those applications because we're going to get so many, right, Angelina? We're going to get so many applications that we're going to have a team on that, okay? I'm putting it out there. We're going to have a team on that so that they can scrub the application and let us know who is the best to get on our podcast. And I'm going to have somebody researching those people to make sure they didn't scam somebody out here because you don't want that smoke, right? Then after that, it'll be another process, the onboarding process to the podcast, right? Here's your onboarding process. Okay, now I need you to sign this disclaimer and you need to do all of this stuff. And then here's your reminders. The system will put them in the reminder flow, right? Right. So just sitting still and thinking about what you want to happen is the first step. Knowing what you want to happen is half the battle, right? So I understand that you won't know how, but if you know what you want to happen, we got an automation strategy, right? It don't have to be pretty. If you book a strategy call with me and you say, listen, this is what I want. I want A, B, C, D, blah, 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 blah. And when this happens, this is what I want to happen. And then I'm going to say, all right, boom. Because right now, I ask my clients, I say, what's your process now? And sometimes they're so focused on trying to make it pretty. I'm like, no, I don't want the pretty. I want to know what you're doing. If you're manually sending out reminders to your calls, that's what I want to know. Because what's going to happen is now you're able to see the transition. So I went from waiting on people to sign up. When they sign up, my payment processor tells me, right? My payment processor tells me I got to sign up. Oh, so you get that sign up and you say, okay, oh my God. All right, I got to send them this email, this onboard email, right? And so they're manually doing this. And it's okay because you don't know that it's another process. That's why people like me are here. I don't judge anybody unless you've been listening to me and you still doing it. But um then they send that, and then when the person responds, they have a whole bunch of other manual processes they're doing. Okay, then we manually add them to the software to put them in the program or whatever. And so now I'm able to show you that transition, right? I'm able to show you the transformation. I'm able to show you, like, listen, you're going to go from this state to this state. So you're going to go from driving yourself crazy, you and your assistant manually sending out this stuff, to all this stuff is gonna happen automatically on the back end. As soon as they pay, they get enrolled here, this, they get in this system, they add it to the reminder series, and now all you have to do is show up and teach, or show up and ask questions, or answer questions, or show up and coach, right? So the goal of the automation is to get you to just show up. And it's okay if you don't know the how, because that's not your lane anyway. That's my lane. So, all right. If you guys have questions, ask me any questions. Right now, I don't even know if I got questions on Facebook. Let me check it out. Or YouTube. I need to sit still and figure my stuff out, y'all. I need to sit still. I don't even know if there's people over here on YouTube. Okay. No. All right. Ain't nobody over there. Okay. So listen, do not forget to sit still, figure out you guys' processes. And I'm not talking about documenting processes. So when I say process, I mean the step by step of how this is going to happen. What is the process? What are we doing here? Right? So where some words have different meanings. So all right guys, if there let me make sure there's no questions. That's how I started, but I was like, this can't work. Still has some automations I need to work on. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Leave me alone. Yes, we are going to go up. Yes. Okay. All right. All right, guys. So if you need a strategy session to help you work through this, you can book a strategy session with me. Click the link in my bio. And I will see you guys later. Bye.